What's up, 4 for 4? We are back for the final episode of the DFS MVP podcast for the Week 18 slate. We'll be talking primarily about DraftKings. We'll talk a little bit about FanDuel as well as we go. We're going to be going game by game. I don't have an article out there this week, but we will still be going game by game as usual. Some content has stopped at 4 for 4, but still plenty of great content out there. Plenty of great stuff to check out at 4 for 4 going forward. Matt Savoca going to continue to do his showdown content for 4 for 4 if you are part of the DFS package. Of course, John going to continue doing projections for 4 for 4. And I was just told today they will be having a playoff best ball package with rankings and stuff for that. So if you want to check out the fantasy package at 4 for 4, highly recommend that as well. A lot of good stuff to still check out for the remaining weeks at 4 for 4. But again, this is the final show of this podcast of the year, the final week of the regular season. We just finished up the best ball finals. Pat, I know I watched your show. You did a playoff best ball show with Shady Advice, and it sounded like you were more sweating Shady Advice's teams than your own. So I'm guessing you didn't have any like real great sweats on Monday night.
No, I didn't really have any good final sweats. I had a couple teams make finals, but none of them really made any noise. So yeah, I was cheering for Chris, who finished third in BBM.
Yeah,
we had him on.
That was very cool.
Chris Carlton
last night.
Okay.
Yeah, Chris Carlton. We had him on Ship Chasing last night. Talked us through that sweat. And yeah, Kyle Dvorak finished 7th in the 555, which I was kind of rooting for as well with the Shady stream. But yeah, nothing too great on my end for week 17. Some of the calls I did enjoy, Ricky Pearsall going off. It was, one of the guys I was like, it's a long season. What if a first round pick doesn't, So there was some validating stuff happens from a content perspective, but yeah, nothing really to sweat for me.
Davis, how about you? Any good sweats in the finals?
Actually, I want to say this. I'm actually grateful that Chase Brown broke his ankle while sliding to avoid scoring a touchdown, because it actually made the Justin Jefferson 13 hurt a little bit less. Had I convinced myself that I was live going into Sunday, would have hurt more to watch him just not score and watch, Jordan Addison just keep smashing. Because I had Jefferson on 3 finals teams. I had one team that had Jefferson got matched T, which is like obviously insane, but maybe not that insane because he had 30 points each of the weeks prior.
Right.
I probably could have finished like top 10-ish maybe in one of the puppies, but nothing huge. So shout out to Chase Brown.
I only had 2 teams in the finals, and they were both like, I was in the Mini Schnauzer 4 and the Pug Butt Superflex, and I went into the week like, okay, Pug Butt Superflex final is 20,000 first, only 62 people in the final. So I was way more excited about that one, even though my team had Christian McCaffrey and Chris Godwin, and it was just completely, it stunk. But then the other team became my focus because I had Marvin Mims, Lad McConkey, Trey McBride all on the same team. So it was like, it could have done something if not for like T. Higgins' 3rd touchdown. It was like, all right, it's over. Like I just don't have T. Higgins. If you don't have Higgins-Burrow, it is essentially over. Ended up getting like, I want to say 20th. I was 15th going into Sunday Night Football, or maybe 10th going into Sunday Night Football, 15th going into Monday. Either way, I had a score of 6.3 in my lineup with both Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel left to potentially replace that 6.3 flex. And best I got was 8.3 out of Deebo Samuel. So that was, if I had just gotten a little bit more, I could have made a run there. But yeah, nothing great for me either.
I also had a Mims lineup. So it's just
yeah.
I made the joke on the show last week, like, which Marvin would you rather have, Mims or Harrison? Turns out it was not particularly
Mims,
close. Literally not
Mims.
even close. Which one you'd rather have?
Yeah, very sad. Very sad. All right. Should we get into it? Get into this week?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. We will start with the first game of the slate is the Carolina Panthers at the Atlanta Falcons. Will be the first one that we do here. There is actually some fantasy goodness in this game. It looks like. Davis, I'll send this to you first. Who do you like on the Falcons and or the Panthers?
So this is a really tricky game. On the surface, it seems not tricky, right? Like, you just take the Falcons. You just jam Penix. You jam Bijan, Pitts scored a touchdown last week. Obviously, Pitts was going to score a touchdown with Penix as the quarterback to give Slappies a reason to have 30% of him in best ball next year.
Oh, no.
But here's...
8th round ADP. Literally jumped 7 rounds in ADP.
But here's what is tricky about it. There are televisions exist, cell phones exist, email exists, text messaging exists. They're going to know that the Buccaneers are up 30 points on the Saints at halftime. Like,
sure.
Don't know how much it's going to impact their playing time, but it's not going to be like, if this game was played in 1987, you could have guaranteed yourself like 37 Bijan Robinson touches probably.
But I don't know, like, are they going to pull, like, you have to win and then you have to have the other team to lose. And like, what if you like basically take your foot off the gas and then all of a sudden the Saints are roaring back? Like, you know, you're going to get yourself fired. Like, I think you got to play all 4 quarters and just hope that, you know, there's some improbable comeback, even if they're way down. Like, maybe it would affect playing time at the very, very end of the game.
It's basically, the thing is it's Bijan. Bijan could go from, I mean, literally the highest projected player of the entire slate, including quarterbacks, I believe. I need to look. I believe he is literally the highest projected player of the entire slate. Yeah. So he could go from a 24-point projection to like a 21.5-point projection, which doesn't sound like it matters much, but it definitely matters when you're talking about a guy who is going to be like, what's Bijan Robinson going to be owned in the SPY? 57%. Think it would be my line.
It's gonna be high, yeah.
And if you think the Falcons have the ball they're up 10 points with 6 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock, what's the Algier meter at? You know?
Wait, so what's the scenario again?
They know
that
the Buccaneers have won, that the Buccaneers are up, that it's 24-0 at half.
I think you're still getting Bijan. I don't see what there's
at halftime. Yeah,
there's no need for the Falcon. What are they saving him for next year? Like this, from a risk reward perspective, like they don't care. There's no reward for like Bijan's definitely healthy next year. You know, in their mind, they're like, that's next year. We'll figure that out later. Like we're gonna play to the final whistle kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you just basically like there are enough 3K like total punts and so few high projected good players. Like go start looking at like players above 7,000 who are projected well, and you're like, well, yeah, I'll just play Bijan on every team, and then I'll play Zach Davidson instead of Tyrell Shavers on this lineup or whatever to get there are better ways to get weird than not playing Bijan. One thing you could do, I talked about this last week with the Buccaneers guys playing Baker, Bucky, Evans, and Payne Durham all in the same lineup. You could do that here where you play Penix, Bijan, London, Pitts, and that is how you do the weird thing.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Could be like if it stays competitive at all, seems like that would make sense. Are you doing any kind of Carolina bringbacks?
No, they're so dead. Like no, they're given like they can't run at all. Thielen now looks his age. Bryce is like kind of turtling.
I mean, Thielen just went off. Thielen was
yeah, he did. He
very
absolutely
productive last week.
smashed. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you just play Thielen. That's
Thielen's looked his age for 5 years. That's the thing with Thielen. It's like he hasn't been good in so long, but he's just like he leveled out. This is probably the type of guy who like screws me up the most. Is like good player drops off, and I'm like, oh, it's over. But then they just like they stay at that level they dropped off to for like a really long time. He's just like, yeah, he's not dust. He's not what he was, but he's not total dust. I think Thielen's kind of there.
Yeah, seems to be.
Yeah, I think I could buy that.
Pat, do you have anything else from this game? Anybody else that you like? I mean, it sounds like you do kind of like Bijan, or sorry, at least kind of like Thielen.
I think Thielen's very playable at low ownership. Bijan, I'm kind of more, I think, like if you're looking for reasons to get off of massive chalk, then Davis's line of thinking I think makes sense. But I guess I'm thinking I'm not afraid of playing Bijan here with the playoff implications, even as a really chalky guy. That's about it though for me.
Okay. Guys who figure out how to play as the Neils, as we call them, that is kind of funny. Yeah. I mean, I started playing DFS 2013. So I've been playing for a long time, but I didn't start really winning until like 5 years ago. So
no, the equivalent would be like if you 5 years from now like stopped winning, but like would like randomly pop up. Your rate went way down, but you'd randomly pop up.
Your top 1% rate went down, but your win rate stayed about the same.
That's exactly right.
What it is.
What
That's exactly right. His win rate is still what it was.
Yeah, he's way worse, but like for some reason it just keeps. Yeah, that would be perfect.
Yes.
All right, we'll move on to Washington at Dallas. Washington's implied team total is 25. Dallas is 18.5. This game is in Dallas. I don't think Dallas doesn't really have anything to play for. Washington still does. Pat, who do you like from Washington and or Dallas?
So from the Washington perspective, they probably care a decent amount here, right?
Quinn said they do. Quinn said they care. I don't remember exactly what the matchup permutations are. I probably should, but I don't remember. But it behooves them to. It gets them a softer matchup if they win, and the line suggests the starters are playing, and Quinn said the starters are playing.
I think Jaden and Terry is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's really good pivot from Baker and Evans. Like really good. Like same ceiling, quarter the ownership probably.
Yeah, that's just a really easy stack. That's not going to be high owned.
Yeah.
Yep.
I would have a question on if Eckler doesn't play, he is activated from the designated for return IR, but I don't know if he's been added to the active roster yet. If he doesn't go, do you have any interest in B-Rob? Or is like just Corum or Charbonnet just like way better?
I think B-Rob makes some sense. Like he's going to be super contrarian.
Yeah, I mean the Dallas defense still not good against the run, so.
And like you said, Davis, he's more expensive than the other guys that everybody wants to play, but there's so much value on the slate that it's like you can fit.
You can literally play a 3K wide receiver who projects for 10 points and a 2.5K tight end who projects for 9 points, and just like play whoever you want. Whoever you want.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. You got to spit a little when you're doing a blender. That's what Pete taught me. That's what Pete taught me.
Yeah.
I think Brian Robinson looks. Would you play them in the same lineup? Jaden Daniels and Brian Robinson.
Yeah. The Sims are just very clear that doing that is very good, especially in the stuff I play, like 1,000 to 3,000 person fields. It's just like, you should play like 4 guys from the same team. That's really strong.
Yeah, I like that call. What about any of the like newfound Olamide Zacchaeus or Zach Ertz? I guess
I couldn't believe in Zacchaeus, Diami. I couldn't believe in these guys any less. I just think they're like so flash in the pan. Ertz definitely yes. Ertz 100%. I mean, the inconvenient truth. The great thing about him, he's gonna re-up. He's like first news of free agency. Zach Ertz signed a 1-year, $5 million contract extension with the Washington Commanders to return to play next season. That's gonna be the first thing Adam Schefter
100%. It's hilarious because like the Ertz Gerald bit that we had was like that's 3 years ago. Like it was a funny joke.
I think even older. I want to say maybe even the COVID year.
Yeah, so we were like laughing about still taking Ertz back then, and then he's like winning best ball championships this year.
I had my appendix out on, I believe it was July 4th, 2021, and I tweeted like after I had surgery, I tweeted out, I just had an epiphany when I was under getting surgery on my appendix. Zach Ertz is a great best ball pick this year. And I got so much backlash. Like everybody was like, no way, that's a terrible pick, whatever. And then he had a really good year. It was like, I was like, see, I mean, he had a pretty good year. Really good year is kind of.
No, he had a really good year.
No, he had 2 touchdowns in week 17. Picks. He was a round 18 tight end pick who I bet, I don't fact check me on this. I bet he outscored Pitts. I bet my
I
last.
think he must have outscored
Kyle Pitts. Come on.
Yeah.
Neil,
this was like all Kerrane and I were doing this offseason. I was like, dude, I have 50% of Zach Ertz in the big board. And people
I remember. So I don't think that I heard you say that. Like, I didn't listen to a podcast where you said that until like August. And I had been drafting a lot of Ben Sinnott and like Luke McCaffrey all offseason. It was the first time I heard anybody bring up Zach Ertz. And I was like, oh God, please no. Like, please don't let that be the case.
Cliff did literally exactly what he did to Zach McBride to Ben Sinnott. He said, you got to learn the ropes, young man. You got to learn from a true grit professional.
Yeah, you were spot on. You were spot on. And it hurt my bags significantly. So
what about Rico Dowdle here?
Yeah, that is like the definition of like dude who shows up at 3% owned, and you're just like, of course he got 22 here. Like, of course he did. What else are they gonna do?
It's a great spot. They're gonna run. You'd feel the Cowboys like finishing up 2024. Week 18 meaningless. If they just like run it, establish it, and Jerry's just like, that's what I've been looking for. Got to bring in Mike back another year. He proved himself today with 26 carries by Rico Dowdle, 135 yards.
Shout out to Not UM, who I see in chat, also was in my Discord and sent out a list of incentives for today. And one of them, and you just noted in chat, Ertz could gain an additional 250,000 if he reaches 70 catches, 700 yards, and or 8 touchdowns. He needs 990 and 2. That seems kind of like far-fetched enough that I don't really want to put a lot of stock into that. Does he need all of them? I'm not sure if I totally understand what Not UM is saying here, but if he needs all of those numbers, I'm not really going to do anything with that information. If he just needs, like, if each of them is a different incentive, I'm a little bit more intrigued. But good note there. This is a slate where like the incentives are so important this week, both from a like team perspective and then just player perspective, that obviously always important to bring those up. I will say on Rico Dowdle, he actually projects pretty well, like projects better than Brian Robinson, and it actually projected for like 16% ownership where I'm looking right now. Maybe it varies around the industry. So I was thinking he was going to be more of an off the wall play, but more, he's getting some ownership. So that's worth noting, not like super contrarian, but I think it's a good call. Like, he's only 5,800, projects pretty well, and he could see reduced. Like, I think the ownership could also come down with more and more value plays opening up. I like that. I like that call out. Anything else from the Commanders or the Cowboys?
No.
Jake Ferguson.
Well, Trey Lance might start. Like, I guess I've been saying that recently, but now it's like literally week 18. This would be like the last chance, and I believe they have to make a decision on his contract this offseason. So it would be I think it's
crazy that they never threw him in.
Right?
This whole time. Like
like I said, he probably is not playing, but if he did, it would not even be a choice for me to play him at DFS. I wouldn't even think about it, dude. I would just be like, yeah, I'm playing Trey Lance.
Is he 4,000?
I assume he's 4,000. I bet he's 5,000. He's not in my sheet because he doesn't have a projection.
Yeah.
But in the 2 games that he played in the preseason this year, he scored 38 fantasy points per game in the 2 preseason games.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Did he?
Yes.
God.
Because there's just like I did the show with Pat Mayo this morning, and he's like, "Why would you play Trey Lance? Has Trey Lance ever accounted for a touchdown?" And I was like, "Trey Lance has played like 6 quarters and has 4 touchdowns. It's like the only thing he can do. Like, he can't win you a football game, but he can get fantasy points."
He's 4,700, so like not even 5,000. That's not a bad price tag. All right, I like it. If they start him, I think I'm in. What do you think?
I'm looking up his preseason stats. I don't know if these are from last year. I'm not seeing anything. When was this preseason greatness?
Davis specifically asked us not to fact check him. I mean, I think that applies to everything. You're not allowed to fact check.
I think this is from the regular season. Okay. I think this is the regular season. All right.
Okay.
Trey Lance led the preseason in passing. How about that? How about Trey Lance just led the entirety of the preseason in passing?
Okay, yeah. I pulled up I'm trying to pull it up quickly and I couldn't find it. I mean, I don't know. The problem with Trey Lance is like, does he even make it through the game? Because it's like Cooper Rush is available, so like he sucks.
This is probably like, of all the things we ever talked about on the show, the least worth discussing, because like it's Friday and they haven't said if he's starting, so I'm guessing he's not. But I just want people to be woke. Like, it's week 18, weird stuff happens.
Yeah,
he very well could.
All right.
Could happen. Don't care.
I'm glad you mentioned it.
Yeah, could happen. I like the call out. At least worth bringing up. All right. Anything else from this game?
No.
Nah.
All right, let's move on to Chicago at Green Bay. There is a 10-point spread in this game. Chicago implied team total of 15.75. Green Bay 25.75. I believe Christian Watson is questionable for this one still, maybe, or is he ruled out?
I think he's still questionable.
Okay. Davis, we'll start with you on this. Anybody you like on the Bears or the Packers?
This is going to be the worst game. Like when this game comes on Red Zone, you're going to be like, is Josh Jacobs in the game? Oh, he's not. It's Emmanuel Wilson. All right, Caleb stinks. He doesn't stink, but he's playing some terrible football right now. Like not even getting there in garbage time. The Packers have nothing. The Packers' motivation is slight. I don't remember exactly what it is, but it's very small. Anthony.
Yeah, they can change from the 3 to the 4, or they can move up from the 4 to the 3. I think. Or
no. They can move
wrong.
up from this.
They can move up from.
They can move up from the 6 to 7.
6 to 7. Yeah. Sorry.
So
right
Anthony
idea.
Nico
Wrong
did
seats.
yes, he did the motivation stuff at ETR, and he had them as a 4 out of 10 on motivation. The thing
right. So where they are pretty much every week.
Right.
Right.
The thing that makes the least sense to me would be Josh Jacobs playing in this game. Like he's an old, banged up running back. Like he's like a 2nd-round pick in BR this week on Underdog. And I'm like, I don't know. I just really cannot see him getting like 27 rushes in this game. Maybe that's just me and I'm mentally weak and I don't understand football. But like, just let Emmanuel Wilson and Chris Brooks. You can win with Chris Brooks this week, Packers.
Oh, I'm reading. Not UM's note. It says LaFleur said the Packers are going to be mindful with some of their injured players entering the regular season finale, but for the most part, he anticipates their starters playing Sunday against the Bears. I'm with you. I think Josh Jacobs just is injured enough that he's just not going to play him. Or
he might get like 4 carries and then just be like what happened on the Sunday night game against the Saints. He came in, he scored a touchdown, and then they said, "All right, good on you, buddy."
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Like if he's healthy, they'll play him some, but they're not going to give him the full workload. Similar to like Jahmyr Gibbs last week. Like the Lions are like, we're playing our guys, and then Jahmyr Gibbs saw a definitely reduced workload. I could see a similar situation here. Doesn't project extremely well. Pat, do you like anything from this game?
Not really. I mean, some of the Bears stuff I think projects okay, but I'm not that excited about it. I do agree with Dave. I've had the YouTube TV multi-game package, and the way they do that is that they kind of like pre-decide these little 4-game panels that you can watch. And I just know that this game's going to be included. It's going to be like all the games I want plus Red Zone, but then this game, and you scrap it. I'll find one without this game that I'll actually put on. I'm definitely scarred from the Bears Seahawks game, which is just so unbelievably bad. Projection wise, I think Moore and Allen and Swift all look fine here, but probably more as one-off plays than stacking up the Bears with Caleb.
Yeah. Miles Ahead points out DJ Moore needs about 11 receptions and 120 yards for 100,000 season. They push him for that. I doubt it. I don't think.
Yeah, Miles. There's only one game left, so they probably aren't going to do that.
Yeah, like that's. I mean,
that was a Bears are bad joke, not going after you, Miles.
Fair. Brett says Wick's legacy game. I do think, like Davis, this is the week. Khalil Herbert's going to score 2 touchdowns with 120 yards tomorrow.
Khalil Herbert is going to smash.
Dontavian Wick's going to put up 110 on 8 catches. All of our best ball guys are going to be awesome this week. But yeah, I guess Wicks is theoretically like in play, but doesn't project really well, even with Christian Watson projected out. Doesn't look like he projects all that well. So I think it's largely a stay away game. They're probably just going to be rotating players.
If you got all backups in here, like cheap guys, then sure. But like Dontavian Wicks is not even going to project better than like Nico Remigio.
Yeah, it doesn't project better. That's His historical analysis puts out Lance threw 5 interceptions in his last preseason game.
Yep. And he had 32 points in that game. It was against the Rams.
Wow.
The Rams preseason roster.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Do we want to move on to the next game?
Yeah.
All right. We will go back to Pat for this one. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Indianapolis Colts. Jags have a 19.5 implied team total. Colts have a 24 implied team total. Pat, what are you doing with the Jaguars and or the Colts?
Imagine if Jonathan Taylor had fumbled right before going at the end zone in week 1. You know, he would have had the best season of all time. This guy's on fire now. Yeah, I think Taylor's a good play again. He's not going to be super high owned. Davis is talking about how we're struggling to find ceiling from expensive guys, but I think he has ceiling and, kind of a pivot off of Bijan. So yeah, I think Taylor's a good play. I think Brian Thomas is a good play. He'll be more popular by a fair amount, but he's really good. You can throw on the Colts. Mac Jones has been not terrible, right? He's not good, but Lawrence wasn't good. So It's like it's been a fall off, but not. It looked like it was gonna be an extreme fall off, but Jones has kind of recovered more recently. So, I think Thomas is pretty interesting here. Downs was really disappointing last week, but I think you could go back to him with Flacco.
I like that call, like, especially after he was so disappointing. Like the previous 4 games, he was targeted so much.
Mm-hmm. You guys think this, and then Downs is going to end up being more owned than Pittman again because that's what DFS is like in 2024.
Yeah,
the guy who screwed everyone last week with 5 points, they're going to be projected about the same.
Yeah,
and Downs is going to be 27%, and Pittman will be 10%.
I think that's right.
Probably right. Davis, anything else that you like from this game?
I'm probably not in on the Jonathan Taylor thing. This feels like a spot. Did you guys read that article about how like everyone on the Colts hates Anthony Richardson, by the way?
No.
Yeah, there was a direct quote from one of the linemen that said, like, I re-signed here. DeForest Buckner, I believe is his name. He said, like, I re-signed here because I believed in you and you're not doing your job.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So not great. Just, I don't know. It's like maybe I'm poisoned from Jacob of just like his Colts pessimism, but the Taylor thing, that also feels like a spot. All right, let me try and logic through this. They have absolutely nothing to play for. Jonathan Taylor, really their only good offensive player. I mean, him and Downs. How does a coach who like probably knows he's getting rehired next year treat that? Like, do you just say we're gonna go win this game, we're gonna end the season on good vibes, or is it like, let's see what Trey Sermon's got? I don't know. Maybe Jonathan Taylor is a really good play.
Wait, what? Why would he be playing Trey Sermon? I missed that.
There's just nothing like this. There's just absolutely no.
Well, I think I don't think Steichen's safe.
Okay, well then if Steichen's not safe, then yeah, Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, they've been kind of embarrassing this year at times.
Kind of.
I mean, seriously, he's probably playing for his job. Like, I think it would be really, really helpful to him if they looked good this week.
Yeah. All right. Anything else from this game for either of you?
No, this is not one of the ones. Well, I mean, Brian Thomas Jr. obviously is like incredibly good play. Yeah, just always. All right, we are going back to Davis for Buffalo Bills at New England Patriots. Man, this one, the projection, the Bills have an implied team total of 19.75. Patriots implied team total of 16.75. Gives you kind of an idea of the Bills' plans for this game. No Josh Allen for this one. Davis, do you like anybody on the Bills and or the Patriots? A 3K Bills wide receiver decides the Week 18 slate every year. Okay. I'll never forget the Robert Foster versus Duke Williams week where I played Robert Foster. He went 0-0-0, and Duke Williams had 6 catches for 102 yards. Got the bonus. I'll never forget it. I think Tyrell Shavers is the one that you want.
He scored a touchdown last week, right? Was that him?
Yeah, scored a long touchdown. They kind of like him. He made the roster over Claypool. That was why they cut Claypool. And he was one, like, I know that the beat writers like all offseason were like, oh, Shavers, like they're trying to find a spot on the roster for him. They don't want to have to put him on the practice squad. He's the Bills' Nico Remigio, who we're going to get to. in a minute. Now that does not necessarily mean that he'll be the one that you want for fantasy. It could be, yes, their practice squad guys are KJ Hamler and Jalen Virgil. And if Ray Davis is the only one, if they call up Ray Davis, or if they don't call up a running back from the practice squad and they just do Ray Davis as like the starter, he would be pretty strong, I think.
Yeah, I mean, in that scenario, Frank Gore, I think, is the one that people are expecting to potentially play. Would you have interest if they do call up Frank Gore at 4,000?
Well, you'd need to get some explanation from the coaching staff, because they might just do that to make James Cook not have to be active.
Right.
So you definitely would not want Frank Gore and Ray Davis like each getting 8 rushes and a target in a Mitch Trubisky led offense. The only reason these guys are valuable in these low total games is when like literally they are the only running back, when they're Chase Brown.
Yeah, I mean, he's 4,000.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But like Ray Davis seems like he'll be important to them in the playoffs, right? Like he's like part of their playoff plans, at least. Maybe, yeah. I guess they have two running backs.
It's
like
Ty Johnson as well.
His role has really been limited. Like weirdly, since the game he started, his role is like really like he scored a touchdown I think 4 weeks ago, and then like kind of went down to 0. Like really is playing less than Ty Johnson.
Yeah. Fair enough. I've been drafting him some in playoff best ball, which I'm like,
well, sure.
That's also like you're kind of thinking 3 weeks over the course of the playoffs, somebody could get hurt and then he becomes a bit more relevant. But yeah, hard to really rely on him here. I would like Frank Gore would be kind of interesting just because he is 4,000. Like, are they going to throw in this game? Do you think they're going to throw with Mr. Trubisky, or are they just going to like run it out the whole time? Kind of bored.
I mean, the thing is like Mitch Trubisky doesn't get to play football all that often, you know.
True. So, yeah, you might want to throw it.
Like he'll want to play, you know. Like it seems pretty straightforward. I'm trying to look and see. So last year, they had to win in week 18 last year. I'm trying to look at 2022 and see what they did. So 2022, it was against the Bengals. They did not have to try. They started. They did have to try. Damn, it's been a long time. So never mind. Josh Allen had to play in that game. So it's really impossible to say with this group of players, probably. But Shavers is the one I really like.
Okay. Pat, do you see things any differently?
Well, I'm just trying to think through like what is going to happen with this Patriots organization that I'm slowly growing to despise, and I've never really been someone who roots for the Patriots on any level. But what feels like most fitting as a conclusion for this season is that against Mitch Trubisky, Gerard Mayo's defense comes to life.
They smashed to cost themselves the draft spot.
They smashed Trubisky, and it's like, oh, see this defensive coach. He's growing. And then we get stuck with Gerard Mayo again next year. Just an absolute clueless head coach for another season. So that feels like the most likely because it's just too poetic. And therefore, I think the Patriots defense is a pretty good play. You're getting them against Mitch Trubisky. They're cheap, and it doesn't look like they'll be owned. So Pat's D.
Will the Bills play their defensive starters? Like
no.
How much of their defense is playing? Okay.
No.
Yeah, interesting. I like that call out of the defense.
There's a comment that he was already locked in. There was a report that he was locked in unless it was embarrassingly bad, and then that Chargers game was embarrassingly bad. So I'm still holding out hope that they do the right thing. Also, if Vrabel's available, keeping Mayo and passing on Vrabel would just be like such a self-inflicted wound. It makes no sense. There's no way that Mayo's their coach in 2026, right? He's 100% to get fired before 2026. So just fire him. It's so stupid. I
don't know if you're mad at him the same way I am for just lying straight up about like Antonio Gibson's going to start this game as that was showing.
Oh, I wouldn't be mad at him for lying because I don't think he like followed through. Like I think he like forgot.
Yeah.
Okay. So he wasn't lying. He just like said it and then just like completely.
He said it, and then like you'll have to like go like check with Alex and be like, make sure like we're benching this guy, right? Like don't start him. And then he just like didn't.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
I hated it. I hated it so much. It was also like, I think it was on the main slate because it was was it Showdown? I don't or short. It was a short slate.
It was
a 2-game slate.
The 2-gamer.
And like every like sharp players adjusted to it. Like, oh my god, I got this news 15 minutes before lock that Antonio Gibson is going to be starting, and then of course got punished. So that was painful. Anyway, moving on. Anything else from the Bills or the Patriots?
No, but this is one to like listen to the reports, like whatever like Joe Buscaglia says on Sunday morning.
Yeah. Good call.
Pretty important.
All right. Moving on to New York Giants at Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to go to Pat first for this one. Another low total for this game. Giants have an implied team total of 17. Eagles have an implied team total of 19.5. No Jalen Hurts. Sounds like probably no Devonta Smith or AJ Brown in this one. Pat, what are we doing with the Giants and or the Eagles?
Well, the Giants are still trying, even if it costs them the number one pick, right? I'm not sure what the incentives were there, but Malik Neighbors, dude cares about football. Trying to score some touchdowns for
that
us.
Game last week was unbelievable.
So Neighbors, Tracy, I think are both pretty interesting. I don't know that I'm gonna go like much deeper than that on it, but both those guys from a team that's like trying while they shouldn't be is.
How do you not lead with Will Shipley chasing, dude?
Good point.
The Eagles are favored. The Eagles sitting out all their guys down to Tanner McKee at quarterback are favored against a Giants team playing all their starters.
All right, fair. Yeah. I mean, he's going to be really, even with like half the field on him, you're excited?
Yeah. He's just like, he is the platonic ideal of a week 18 NFL DFS play. A guy you kind of liked in college, catches some passes, decently athletic. Like, remember getting to play Niall Davis? It's not, obviously he's not as good as Niall Davis, you know? But
dude, Niall Davis in a straight line. He was so fast.
Yeah. The problem with Tyrion Davis-Price is one of the worst running backs I've ever watched at the NFL level. Just like for me, a very casual observer, to know that you're bad at NFL running back, it's pretty hard. But he is he's really bad. And probably I would think not going to get the ball very much. Maybe he will. I don't know. Maybe he'll just start. But yeah, Shipley chasing. And I also think he won't get owned that much because the ownership projections we're all looking at right now doesn't have Andy Reid saying, okay, Carson's starting at running back. Mm-hmm. You know, Carson still doesn't have the Titans ruling out Tony Pollard, you know, all that stuff. Like Tony Pollard gets ruled out. Tajay Spears gets ruled out. Julius Chestnut then becomes the most owned 4K guy. It's like, well, Julius Chestnut, Will Shipley chasing, it's like about the same, really.
Somebody asking, was Will Shipley concussed? I see he does have a Q tag.
He was.
Okay. Do we know how he's progressing there? Have you heard any? I
want to say he was maybe even active last week. Maybe he wasn't.
Okay.
Let me. Google News is he got a full practice in, so yeah, he's going to be good to go.
Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Speaking of guys that. Running backs that I drafted late in best ball.
Yeah, guys who you wish you could transfer their week 18 points to week 17.
Yeah, there's just so many of them. Did not go well. Anything else from? Are we playing any Malik Neighbors at 7,100? Tyrone Tracy.
Yeah, those are the guys I like.
Oh, there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Shipley's definitely a good play. I just I don't know. Maybe like past Kenny Gainwell over the course of the season. Is that too much to ask?
Clearly it is too much to ask. Yeah, that was disappointing season for old Will Shipley chasing. But ship chasing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to see Niall Davis run again because I remembered it being fun. The first thing, if you go Google Niall Davis highlights, the first thing is a kickoff return. So that's the third thing is career highlights from Arkansas. Yep. That's off to a bad start for an NFL running back. And then it looks like the second result is a single game from Chiefs.com that won't play because of my ad blocker. So not a lot of NFL highlights from Niall Davis, but I do remember him being fun.
I don't really remember. I remember I can spell the name, so I know that. So I remember him well enough, but I don't really remember watching him play that much. Pat, you I had such a great segue going right there for a second. Sorry. From Will Shipley to ship chasing, flag planted, Jalen McMillan, and nailed it this year. That is the next game that we have up on this slate.
Which really, I psyop them into doing. So
you did.
Think about it. If you think
Come on,
about
you got to give Gretsch credit for going to Washington.
No, reverse. He said McMillan stunk. He didn't like any of them. The only one
he said, I believe he said he was a little too inconsistent.
The only one that he liked was Rome.
Yeah, I think. Well, not liking Polk is hardly an indictment. For
not liking Polk. Point Gretsch. I think probably knowing that Jalen Polk and Javon Baker were gonna combine for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think I'd trade that knowledge for like not being allowed to select Jalen McMillan. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That would have helped me out a lot. The thing, like, if I had asked, it would have been funny to like ask for highest scoring Pats receiver, but then like if you didn't get the score, you're gonna need the score because like you have like about 15 points.
Yeah. Man, if you could just wipe out the Pats from your entire best ball portfolio, like
I know,
how much better would you have been? Although I
took a ton of the Pats. I believed in and still do very much believe in Drake May, but that the cast was much worse than I even could have imagined.
Yeah,
including the director, the key grip. It's terrible. So are we on to Buccaneer Saints? Was that your?
That was the transition. Let's talk Saints at Buccaneers, and this one has a widespread. The Saints have an implied team total of 14.75, Buccaneers 28.75. And let's see who went. Davis, Pat. We're back to Davis for the Saints at the Buccaneers. Who do we like from this game, Davis?
Well, who scores more points? The Falcons in the must-win game against the Panthers, or the Buccaneers in their must-win game against the Saints? Probably the Buccaneers. The whole of the DFS world knows. Dude, didn't you know that the Baker knows how many yards Mike Evans needs? He's been very adamant about getting Baker Mayfield or about getting Evans the yards he needs. I mean, yeah, Evans, Bucky, Baker. These are the plays of the slate. Cade Otton returned to practice. Low-key, kind of a big deal because he or Payne Durham could be leverage or additional leverage, like you could play Baker with Evans and McMillan and Bucky. Like last week, my main team in the SPY, I played 4 Buccaneers. Should have been 5. Should have played McMillan too. Should have played the defense. They like the whole organization just smashed. And I think that's totally viable this week. Really, the question you have to ask yourselves is like, what does the ownership get up to? And at what point do you just say enough is enough? Like if I told you that legit combinatorially Baker and Evans was like 30% owned in a given contest, like not individually, but combo 30% of the roster, 30% of the rosters have Baker and Evans. That's probably a bit too much. 13 game slate is probably a bit too much.
Yeah, I'd probably just drop off the Baker part of it in that case, I think. I mean, to me, it's like Mike Evans is going to get there unless he pulls a hammy. But that's always live to happen.
Yeah,
like that is the big threat with Mike Evans.
Cade Otton got moved to doubtful, which is
okay.
Is that because Durham did give up some routes to Culp last week, but not near
like a fair amount.
It was like he ran about 59% of the routes or something. I think maybe even more than that. I mean, he played more snaps than Evans did in total.
Yeah. And Culp was involved on some receiving stuff, so I was a little disappointed. I played Durham and had him. I mentioned him on the show.
Durham looks pretty good too, though. That's the thing, is like Culp looked pretty good, but Durham also.
Yeah, they both look pretty good.
He's kind of rumbling and bumbling around out there, you know.
Yeah.
Pat, what do you think of 30% combinatorial? What would you do if you knew it was going to be 30% combinatorial ownership on Baker and Evans? What would you do?
I'd probably just play Evans and drop the Baker. I agree with that. Nothing too crazy for me here. Bucky and Evans.
You got to get Trey Lance in there, dude. You get Trey Lance in there for the leverage. You play all the Mike Evans you want.
That's right.
I don't really have much to add on this game.
Who's got the stones to say, Bucky Irving doesn't play all the snaps. Baker does like to throw to his running backs in the red zone. Bucky Irving is big leverage, or Rachaad White is big leverage.
He is big leverage. That's just true.
It is true, but like I wouldn't
either
take him. Yeah.
No.
I played some last week, in part because they were playing against the Panthers, though. It was like, also we didn't know for sure how much they were going to downgrade him because they hate him now. But like there was some possibility that they hated him, but they were going to
downgraded
play him anyway. Yeah,
he was basically Dare Ogunbowale last week.
Yeah, they're just, it's all Bucky all the way at this point. Yeah. Are we nothing from the Saints?
I mean, McMillan could be pretty, like, I don't think he'll be particularly, he kind of just gets lost. He'll get lost this week. Like, do I play Jalen McMillan, who's projected for, I don't know, let me look at my sheet. Jalen McMillan projected for how many points? 11.26. Or do I play Nico Remigio, who's projected for 9.4? Or do I play Jordan Whittington, who's projected, actually, he's projected terribly. I wonder why that is. Rams wide receiver projections are wrong, I think. That is not the way they should look. But point being, I think it would be possible that he could get lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that call. McMillan is pretty interesting. Very low ownership, it looks like. So,
especially with Otton, he's just been really good recently. Yeah,
he's been
awesome. Baker is never looking at Rachaad again after that fumble. Who says shocking that Bucky only has 6 less receptions than White. Shocking that he only has 6 less. Yeah. Okay, we're on the same page then. Yeah, because he's been getting all of them recently. Like early in the year, it was all Rachaad White show all the time. Now it's changed up a little bit. All right, moving on. Unless do either of you have anything else to say about the Saints or the Bucks?
Not going to play Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
No.
All right, cool. We are moving on to the Texans at the Titans. Texans implied team total 17.5. Titans is 19. Tony Pollard is questionable. Chigakonkwo is questionable. Pat, what are we doing with the Texans and or the Titans?
I mean, Ridley's playable. Titans defense. This Texans team just keeps crapping the bed.
Is this the worst game?
It's up there.
It's up there.
I'm trying to see what is the worst game.
I think this might be it. This might be the game that you really are least looking forward to.
Bills Pats is right there for me. I mean, I guess you name some players from the Bills Pats that are sort of interesting. I think you're right. I think
so Mayo doesn't. So Van Pelt says that May's playing, and Mayo doesn't know either way. But so we'll find out on Sunday who they end up starting at quarterback. If May plays as part of like they wake up for no reason to keep their coaches there, I think the Pats game could be gross, but more watchable than this. This could be really a really rough watch.
Yeah.
How sad is it, by the way, that I saw this line and I was like, well, are the Texans playing their starters or not? I was like, well, surely if the Titans are favored, that means. But I had to go check. I was like,
God.
well, is CJ Stroud playing or 32 points in front of Beyonce, dude? 2 points. If they should be embarrassed. 2 points generated on a safety in front of Beyonce.
On a safety. It was an offense that gets shut out on offense.
Really? Man.
This one's the worst it's one of the worst in part because like the projections are totally split. Like it's like they're going to play CJ Stroud part of the game is kind of what the projections suggest, which is kind of worst case scenario. Like can't even play the backups.
Oh, I would not play any Texan. And I really probably wouldn't. I'm not that into Chestnut either. Like if you think about potential game scripts, like sure, Chestnut could get 85 yards and a touchdown. Does that feel like a fair return on 18 touches for Julius Chestnut?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't know, man. Doesn't one of Corum or Shipley or Alexander Madison just outscore him?
What's the deal with Spears? Is Spears out?
And I'm just assuming concussion week 18, and he'd already had a concussion, I believe, Spears this year.
Okay. Then I'm somewhat into Chestnut. Just partly I've been intrigued by Chestnut since he's been in the league.
That's a real ship chasing ass sentence right there.
Yeah. He broke like I think it was like D2 or something, but he like broke all of my metrics for like tackle breaking. This dude like broke an insane amount of tackles at a low level of play in college. And he stuck around. He's one of these UDFA guys who like sticks around and kind of just like we sometimes see those guys pop up in interesting ways.
Real Patrick Taylor Jr. vibes.
Yeah. There you go.
Great.
I mean, Jordan Mason would be more kind of the example I'm going for.
Yes.
Just a UDFA who's like, he didn't do much, but they keep him around, and then he gets an opportunity and he flashes.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Enough about this game, I think. It's just kind of gross. We've got a lot of games on the slate. The next game up is San Francisco at Arizona. So we're back to Davis. San Francisco has an implied team total of 19. Arizona 23.5. Anybody we like from the Cards or the 49ers?
So there's this interesting thing that's going on in the projections right now that I'm trying to make sense of, which is that it just is piling Kyler Murray on me. Like I ran my Sims earlier. He was far and away the highest Sim ROI quarterback, high and away the guy who was in the most optimal lineups versus his projected. It's like, well, when I run it, I always have a rule on that you have to stack. Like I turn QB stacking on when I run. And obviously the projections are big on McBride. Dobbs is also pretty big in the projections just because he's a running quarterback for 4K. Also went to college with Juwan Jennings, and then he came in the game and just immediately started pelting. They went to Tennessee together. Why would any 49ers veteran play in this game? Like Purdy's out. Debo and Kittle have been banged up all year. And the line kind of suggests to me that they're not, that this is going to be like Jacob Cowing and Chris Conley out there. There's not been any reporting on that. There we go. Debo's out.
Oh, okay.
So we'll hear about Kittle too, I would imagine. But is Jennings out?
No, he doesn't even have a Q tag.
So Dobbs, Jennings, I don't know, kind of interesting. And then Guerendo, his role has been really good when he's been in there. He's just a Shanahan running back. And you want to talk about a 5% on play that literally he just gets lost in the shuffle. He's like the 9th best value RB of the slate or whatever.
Yeah. I really like the Guerendo call because that feels like, okay, Shanahan's getting to play the way he wants to play. He's running the ball. You can run on the Cardinals. Guerendo is not really in their plans next year in any kind of meaningful way. So let's talk about it like a safe place to get touches. It gets the game over with, pretty quickly if you just pound the rock. So I could see him getting a lot of work here, and he's fast. You know, he can pop big runs. So that play, especially at really low ownership, is pretty fun.
Yeah. Yep, I like that call out. Correndo, people bringing up the incentives for Kyler. He needs 50 rushing yards and a touchdown for $750,000, we think. Does that do anything for us? Maybe that's why he's projecting so well? Yeah. He's getting paid enough.
I gotta come clean to everyone. I don't give a shit about the incentives. I really don't, dude. Like, maybe in the case of Evans, where the quarterback has said, brother, we are getting you 85 yards come hell or high water.
That matters.
Sure. That matters. But like, at the end of the day, these dudes, particularly like the superstars, like, you know how rich Kyler is? Do you know how rich Kyler Murray is?
Well, that's why I say no. He's got to that's a lot of yards and a touchdown. So like, he could run for 75 yards and not get the touchdown and take like a few like rough hits on the sidelines. Like Kyler, I'm seriously questioning, like, from his risk reward perspective, it's like, I'm going to take off and slightly increase the probability of $750K or throw the ball away. I think he throws that ball away. He's made a lot of money.
Can make a lot more money.
Kyler Murray has a $200 million contract.
Yeah.
More. 200 million is light. It's more than that.
Yeah. No, I think for Kyler, I'm not concerned about the incentive. If it were just 50 yards, then I'd be like, maybe, like, that's it's like that attainable. Like,
right. Yeah, I'd feel a little differently.
And it's just like, then it's like, also people are woke to it too. Right?
Yeah.
Like if Pollard gets, like, for example, let's say Pollard plays in this game and everyone knows he needs a touchdown, that makes him like 3% more owned than he needs to be or whatever. Same thing in props too. Like, you know, guess what? DraftKings knows what Tony Pollard's incentives are, brother.
They tweeted it out. They tweeted out the incentives to the players.
Yeah,
like, please bet this. Come on, guys, bet this.
You're gonna log into your same game parlay app, and they're gonna be like, "Here's the sponsored contract incentive slip with an odds boost." You know, like,
I feel like we buried, like, Michael Carter is one of the better projected point per dollar plays on the site. Maybe you guys talked about him. But we should, like, he's 4,700. How much do we like Michael Carter?
Intimately familiar with Michael Carter.
Intimately, really? All right. Is there a story?
He was a backfield college mate with Breece Hall.
No, Javonte
Williams. That's right. Yeah.
But he was Michael Carter a lot after the rookie season, though, and then he sucked forever after. What happened is then they drafted Breece Hall, so he was an NFL backfield mate with Breece Hall.
Yeah. Right.
And immediately passed by him, and then did nothing. But I think Carter can kind of play, so I'm probably more into Carter than Shipley.
The field agrees with you. Carter is going to be
very much so
pumped.
Yeah, he's projected for like one of the highest owned players on the slate.
Although that Arizona running back role, man, I mean, it is just. That is just like, you're getting 16 points if you are like ambulatory, you know, like they could stick if they had to, they could stick DJ Dallas in there and he could get 16, I think.
Scored a touchdown last week, right? Or maybe it was 2 weeks ago against Carolina when Trey McBride did not.
He did. Well, that's the other thing. So Brett Jones just said Carter looked pretty spry last week. Yeah, these guys who haven't been tackled in 2 years and everyone else is at the end of their season, they feel pretty spry.
Yeah.
They feel pretty
Super
good.
Fresh.
Yeah. McBride or Bowers?
McBride or Bowers? I mean, McBride's scored his one touchdown, so he doesn't need to score any more touchdowns.
They don't need to call 3 consecutive goal line plays to get him a touchdown.
Yeah. No, I think McBride, just because the Chargers defense is so tough. I don't know. It's close.
I think Bowers, because the Raiders are more likely to throw, would be the way I'd play that. Because you could just have the Chargers and the the Cardinals and the 49ers just like running on each other.
Like literally just fashion. Like who can single T this game harder.
Yes. Yeah.
18.5 implied team total for the Raiders. So that's part of it, is like the Cardinals have a 23.5 implied team total, but yeah, you're probably right. They're just not going to throw it enough for McBride to get there. So, and I think like Never mind. I was going to say Bowers may be more of a focal point of the offense, but McBride, a pretty big focal point of that offense. He's been targeted a ton this year, so that's not really true. Yeah, maybe Bowers. I don't know. What are the price tags there? McBride.
Bowers is 66.
Oh, yeah. Well, if the prices are close enough, yeah, I'd probably just go Bowers there.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else from the Cardinals or the 49ers?
I would be into Jacob Cowing if he started. He's going to be like a targets per route run fiend, but I don't think he will. But like if Schefter tweets out that Kittle and Debo and Jennings are all out, then yeah.
Yeah,
I like
that's
that
interesting. Yeah.
3,000. Right. I mean, come on.
Yeah. People were comparing him to Tank Dell this offseason.
He was a really good college player.
Was he?
Very fun. Yeah, he really was.
Yeah. All right. Going to, I think, Pat with this one, but it is Davis's Kansas City Chiefs at the Denver Broncos. Kansas City Chiefs, 15 implied team total. Denver Broncos 25.5. Of course, Broncos playing for something. Chiefs resting all their stars. I think Broncos need to win to make the playoffs, but it's winning in at this point. Yeah. Whereas obviously the Chiefs are not playing for anything at this point. Pat, who do we like on the Chiefs and or the Broncos?
Well, I think you do Knicks, Sutton. You can play Mims after his game. Yeah. So, I mean, I think this is one of the more interesting stacks this week. And like we have, it's kind of like, with the Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin stack, you get motivation, but this is like real motivation. This is, you need to win to get in type motivation. And so that one's pretty clean. Mims only 4,600, Sutton 6,400, Nick 6,400. And then I'll tee up Davis. Davis can talk us through Nico Remeggio.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, let's hear it.
So, like, sometimes this stuff can go really wrong, but the Kansas City Chiefs coaches love this guy. Dave Taub called him the greatest special teams player he's ever seen. Wow. He has been begging Andy Reid. They stashed him on IR last year because they had no room for him. He's been begging Andy Reid to make him active. And he finally, I want to say when, I don't remember who got hurt. Someone got hurt and he got to be active. And then they've kept him active, even with having Juju and Watson and Hollywood and Hopkins all active. They've kept him active. I think this is going to be like, here's your award for being the greatest punt gunner of all time. You get 11 targets in the Rashee Rice role with Carson Wentz. I like actually do think this. The sad part is that I think people are pretty woke to it. Right now, Nico Remeggio, the aforementioned Nico Remeggio, is projected as the 6th highest owned wide receiver of the entire slate. So, like, then you get into jumping the shark territory. Like, do I think Nico Remeggio is a good play? Absolutely. Do I think he is 20% more of a play than Tyrell Shavers or Tyler Johnson or Jacob Cowing in that eventuality, or a backup Chargers wide receiver, or Malik Washington, or just pick your 3K guy? No chance, right? There's no way to make that work ownership wise, unless the projected ownership is wrong, which it might be.
It could be. Yeah, very well could be.
The historical anomaly says Remeggio is the Darrell Williams of Noah Gray's.
Darrell Williams was a week 17 smash.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a compliment. Darrell Williams, when no one else was left, was great.
He was great. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think of Noah Gray, maybe if Justin Ross is, it would be a different.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing. There's also a very obvious pivot play.
Yeah.
Which is Justin Ross. So, like, you could play Justin Ross at a fraction of the ownership.
But he's Mahomes' guy. Mahomes is the love for Ross. I like the coaching angle you're bringing up there.
Well, this is gonna be their personnel. Peyton Hendershot is gonna be the tight end. Carson Steele is gonna be the running back. I think I'm just looking at their roster. Kerrane, I think Tyquan Thornton might play in this game.
Wait, what team is Tyquan Thornton on? Oh, he's on the Chiefs.
He's on the Chiefs practice squad.
Wow.
Because I think they view Justin Watson as important enough to what they want to do in the playoffs that they would prefer him not to have to play in this game. Maybe he'll have to, and it'll be Nico, Ross, and Watson. Yeah. Basically, if Remigio gets 16, you're just going to be so pissed off because you're going to be like, I can't believe these sick fish who played this idiot guy who sounds like he sounds like an Italian chef. You know, but that's what the field's going to do. I can't tell you how many points he's going to get, but I mean, Hendershot might be the
the 2,500
leverage, 2,500. I mean, I know for a fact they think Noah Gray is important to what they're going to do at the playoffs. He's not going to play at all.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's kind of like with those three, assuming that Justin Watson is not starting and it is Tyquan Thornton. I just want whoever's the lowest owned of that trio of Nico Remigio, Justin
definitely
Ross.
be Ross. It'll definitely be Ross.
Lower than Tyquan Thornton.
Well, I would not.
I think it would be Thornton.
I would not encourage playing Tyquan Thornton with your own money.
I don't know. Pat won $2 million with Tyquan Thornton. So
I only drafted him once, though, Neil.
Did you really?
I didn't go.
Yeah,
great.
I think I knew that. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
It just feels like there's like Remigio is legit going to be in the part of the offense that Rice and Worthy played.
Okay,
you decide what that's worth.
It's worth something.
You know?
Doesn't have Pat throwing the ball, but Wentz is like serviceable.
How funny is the Broncos backfield, by the way? They're going to make the playoffs. They like actually are above average NFL team, and their running backs get about 3 expected fantasy points per game after a Sean Payton
and they
offense.
split it up. They split it.
I hate it. I hate Sean Payton so much. I hate the way he ruins all of my fantasy teams all the time. I've come
around to like I've embraced the bit of it. Like, of course they played Blake Watson. It's down to 2 guys, and it's like Blake Watson, baby. I've been talking about all summer.
Blake Watson was kind of a fun college player. He's better than Javonte, I tell you that much.
Let's find a higher bar than that. Unfortunately,
turning Javonte into a third down back, by the way, being a third down back is such the last refuge of the scoundrel for a running back in the NFL. Like I can't do anything, but I can sacrifice my body and just square up to linebackers for the whole game.
He's watching Samaje Perine tape. It's so bad.
Yeah.
For me, I think the Sean Payton, like I probably overstate how much I hate him, but like he trolled the Vikings when the Vikings were playing the Saints back in the day before the Minneapolis Miracle. He was doing the skull wave after they had scored, and it was looking like the game was over, and it was just such sweet revenge for the Minneapolis Miracle to get the Vikings to win in the playoffs against the Saints. But I've just the whole like, oh my God, I'm so much smarter than everybody. I drafted Bo Nix.
Yeah.
You know, I downplayed how much I like Bo Nix. Like that whole it just bothers me. Just bothers me.
He seems, personality wise, he seems obnoxious, but I don't know. He's all the shenanigans that used to really get under my skin, but it's just it's so predictably.
It is very predictable. Yeah.
And in the same way, like now Mims is popping up. Like we're like, play Marvin Mims. He won't play Marvin Mims, and then Mims goes off. When you least expect. But that's kind of how it was with the Saints. They had all those random guys, Devery Henderson and stuff. It was just like pop up for big games when you couldn't expect it. Brett Jones, by the way, says Blake Watson truther here. Watch his tape. He's probably as good as anyone else they've got.
No, he was pretty good. He was pretty good in college. Perine will not get used. Perine will not play in this game. Perine, Pacheco, and Hunt, no touches. I mean, again, decide what this is worth for you. Carson Steele is going to get 17 rushes in this game. That's
worth 51 yards to me. 51 yards and 50-50 to score a touchdown, I think.
And potentially a touchdown.
Yeah. And a fumble or 2. So it's not ideal, but
hey man.
Has he not had fumbling issues?
Yeah, but I'd just be nice to my guy.
I'm sorry. That's him on Who Hames's avatar, right? That's
writing his crocodile. Correct.
Yeah. I got a question from Sean Preston. Wanted to know you guys' teams. And Davis, I feel like you talk about the Chiefs all the time.
You guys are never gonna guess. Team, yeah. You guys are never gonna guess who Pat's team is. It floors me every time it is revealed.
It's not the Patriots. I know it's not the
Patriots.
Patriots.
Yes, you do. You do have a team.
I don't.
You did.
I don't have a team.
I
rooted for the Rich Gannon Raiders.
But that's what HTTR is. Hail to the Raiders, right?
No, that's hail to the racial slurs.
Oh, okay. I see.
But the whole team literally retired in the same year because they were all 40.
Kerrane, I thought you were a Giants fan.
No.
I could have sworn.
I kind of was thinking that you might be too.
I could have sworn that like 6 years ago we were doing a podcast and you were like, I'm kind of a Giants fan.
Are you thinking of Scott Barrett? He's a Giants fan.
He's a Giants fan.
You're confusing me with someone because I've never rooted for the Giants.
Okay, all right.
My story with the Giants is that in 2007, I was in a pool with Pick'em Pool with my family, and it was me and my dad for first, and he was ahead of me, so he got to pick the Super Bowl, and then whoever he didn't pick, I was going to pick because I was within striking distance of the Super Bowl points, and he picked the Giants in 2007.
Oh no!
Undefeated against the undefeated Patriots, and I was like,
"Wow,
you fool!" Because he had a dream that the Giants were going to win.
Pat is not the sharp one in his family. I'm just learning. Pat isn't.
My dad dreamed. He dreamed the Giants were going to upset the Patriots at the Super Bowl, and then went with the dream, and was right.
That's impressive.
Yeah, he's prophetic. Right. But anyway, I could never. I mean, the Giants. My dad made me root for the Patriots, so I wanted to root against, and then they lost. Because of the Giants. No, I have no love for the Giants.
All right, that's good to know. All right, so there you go. Pat doesn't have a team, except for this year it was the Patriots. Next year it's going to be some new rookie quarterback and all of his pieces.
Not some new rookie quarterback, I don't think. This class is...
Oh, is it bad? Good. That bad?
It's real bad. Shador looks like fine, but it's like Tua type stuff.
Yeah, okay. That's a good comp. That's a good comp.
And then Cam Ward, I'm not really into at all.
Cam Ward is like an insanely fun college quarterback who's like not going to translate at all.
It doesn't look like it's going to translate to me. He looks like a potential really bad real life number 1 overall pick, and even as like the number 2 pick in my stuff, he comes out as like a second round super flex pick. He looks like a bad bet.
It's a good draft for running backs, right? That's my impression.
It's very good
from the outside. Gene T.
I think it's deep.
I'm excited to argue with you. Okay. I think we're on the same page then, Davis, because I've heard you talk about how good it is, but it seems really deep. You're
gonna take a guy who's a 3rd round rookie, you're gonna take the guy at the 3.4 in your rookie draft, and he's gonna be a 4-year starter. You're just gonna look at your roster one day and you're like, how did I even get that guy? He's a starting running back for the Dolphins. Well, how did that even happen?
There's some Brian Robinsons in this class.
Yes, there's like 10 of them.
There's like 10 Brian Robinsons. Yeah. There's like probably a Chuba in here. There's some good stuff.
Like Jonah Coleman just went back to school because he's like, I'm going to be a day 3 pick.
Are the Penn State guys going to come out?
Sounds like they are. And Singleton
looks fun to me.
And that's the thing. Their profiles are going to be weird because they played with each other.
Yeah.
So they're just not going to look that good. And I'm pretty sure they're both good.
They both look good. Singleton's like kind of more my cup of tea. It's like more explosive. But anyway,
K-Tron's a real Brian Robinson-esque junior running back.
Great. I'm into that too.
But Gene T is actually really good, right? Like he
should be like the Superflex 101 type.
Okay.
That's
what I thought.
Do not listen to people who tell you that Gene T is not good, because that's going to be a real popular opinion. It's going to be like, dude, oh yeah. It's going to be like, dude, when he played against a team that wasn't a community college, he only had 110 yards. Loser. Only had 110 yards against Penn State, idiot.
That will not be. He will not hear those takes from me. Gene T looks
coming.
Awesome in my stuff.
No, it's
awesome.
coming.
Good.
Like slightly below Bijan level, but like better than Gibbs, better than Zeke, better than Brees.
That's where I landed. I actually think he could be better
Taylor.
I think he could be better than Bijan.
I mean, he certainly could be. He certainly could.
Way more shifty. It's like impossible to get your hands on this guy at the first level. Anyway,
One other question before we move on: Is Shedeur Sanders a lefty? Is that why we compare him to Tua, or is it something else in this game?
No, it's just like I think he strikes me as someone who's like going to be kind of system dependent.
Okay.
Like if he had a really good supporting cast and good coaching, I'd be like, great. Like I think he can facilitate an offense. He can throw on the run. He can scramble. He can make plays, but
He's athletic, and it looks like he should be able to run, but he doesn't at all. Like he's pretty good at evading pressure, but he never just like takes off and gets you 16 yards.
Yeah, he's a scramble to throw guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a scramble to throw, but he throws well on the run. So
I mean,
and he also like resets.
Deion Sanders' kid. He's Deion Sanders' kid. He should be so much more athletic.
Yeah.
Right. Ward, he runs around the goal line. That's the one thing with Ward, is that he's definitely gonna scramble for touchdowns. That'll be nice, but
useful. Okay.
Yeah. But dude, I mean, like, Drew Aller said he wasn't coming back, and now maybe will declare. And he's like, I don't watch like quarterback footwork and study the footwork. When I watch Drew Aller, I'm like, what are you doing? Like he's like just like kind of moving like haphazardly, like are you trying to like get around? You can
tell Kerrane became a quarterback guy from being so in on Drake May. He really became a quarterback guy.
But Aller, I think Aller would be in contention, depending on draft capital, be the number one guy in the class. Like if the NFL was like, oh, we like him the most, it'd be like, then I do too. It's a pretty weak class.
Okay. Interesting. All right. Before we move on, so we talk about liking Peyton Hendershot, $2,500 tight end. Looks like a pretty strong play.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody said it. Are we playing Cortland Sutton and Bo Nix since they have something to play for?
I kind of like Mims better, low key.
Mims, yeah. Why not?
No, I like the Nix stack.
Okay. Nix. Mims is 4,600. Cortland Sutton 6,400. Carson Steele. So what is the verdict? What is your verdict, Davis, on Carson Steele?
In
4,700. You'll take your 51.
He's just going to be the lowest owned of these like shitty. Like he's going to be half the ownership of Julius Chestnut.
Yeah. All right. Then let's move on to Seattle at the Rams. Seahawks have an implied team total of 22.5. Rams have an implied team total of 16. Davis, who do we like on the Seahawks and or the Rams?
So the Seahawks are playing their starters. Not sure why, but the line indicates it. Coach said they're all playing. Gino has some contract incentive stuff. Like he can get an extra $1 million with like a pretty reasonable stat line. Again, not to do the mid IQ thing, but he can like basically like it's just they get to play against the Rams backups in the dome. It's a pretty good spot. You're going to get a lot of Seahawks stuff if you run optimals. I like JSN. He seems like a pretty good. He'll be a little bit less owned than like Evans and Brian Thomas Jr. So like good, nice little ownership discount on a guy who projects like for like 18 on DraftKings. Then on the Rams side, it's like, okay, Corum's just really good play. He's just going to be in the Kyron role, but like with Jimmy Garoppolo and the backup Rams offensive line. That's really the issue, is that it's this terrible offensive line and none of the offensive linemen are playing. These are the backups to the guys who got their asses kicked all year on the offensive line. So that's not great. But also Puka, Kupp, D-Rob, these guys are not playing. So it's like Jordan Whittington might not even play. He's questionable. He's got like a shoulder injury. So it could be Tutu, Tyler Johnson, and Xavier Smith at wide receiver. Xavier Smith was kind of good in the preseason. He was like a good targets per route run guy in the preseason. Tyler Johnson would be my guess for who gets like the good role. And the other thing is, for a week 18 quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo's like pretty good. Not a good quarterback, but for a week 18 quarterback, he's pretty good.
Yeah. We got Zach in chat telling us we need to jump in the DK.
He's trying to get
messaging various Discords I'm in. Like,
yeah.
Up in the 333.
He's the new Jewish McCaffrey. The new Jewish McCaffrey.
He is the new JMC. Wow.
Yeah.
In fairness to Zach, he's traveling. I think this Saturday, so tomorrow maybe. So he's got limited time to get these drafts in.
Yeah, he just wants to get them all done.
I respect the grind.
Yeah. Pat, anything else that you like from the Rams and or the Seahawks?
Yeah, I mean Charbonnet, I think is pretty fun. If you're not like, okay, they could just like play the starters the whole game and put up points against the Rams backups. I think that's very possible. But Charbonnet's safe in that, like, if they decide not to do that, he's not even their starting running back. He's their backup. And why not just feed him in kind of a Garendo way? Like, it's a safe way for the Seahawks to play this game. Just feed Charbonnet, especially if he's running well, which he probably will be against backups. DK Metcalf, I think, is interesting as a play, a potential leverage play off of JSN. It seems like JSN's going to be a lot more popular, even though he's more expensive. And he's $500 more expensive, so it's not like a negligible difference. And then the thing about the Seahawks is that they can't pass protect. But what if they're pass protecting better because they're going against some backups? So, Metcalf could be a good kind of finish off the season on a positive note for their number one downfield receiver, deep threat, I should say. But yeah, I think Metcalf's pretty interesting. And then, JSN is a strong play. And I think Geno, stacked with Metcalf or JSN or both, is definitely a play here too.
Okay. Anything else from this game for either of you?
No, it's not a particularly. Well, which of these Saints backups do you like? Because I think this could be like the spot, Kerrane, where it's like this is instead of 20 because everyone's so uncertain, on this one.
Yeah.
If Tutu's playing, my thing with Tutu is he's good. He's just Tutu's like he's limited. It's not like I don't blame Sean McVay for not playing Tutu more because he's so undersized. But when he's out there, he tends to make plays. So if I'm playing any of these Rams guys, plus he can put up points in a hurry. He's really fast. He can get loose. So I definitely just I feel best about Tutu because he's not that much more expensive than Tyler Johnson. He's $800 more. And I'm like, he's definitely good at some stuff.
Yeah. All right. So Tutu is your choice of the Rams receivers. Davis, how about you?
Whittington if he plays, and probably Tyler Johnson if he doesn't. Because I'm worried that Tutu doesn't play a ton of snaps. He's part of their team, in the playoffs. Not a huge part.
Yeah, I would love to choose Demarcus Robinson, but he's clearly just too important to the team. So
he's too locked in, man.
Dude, he's been locked
kind
in.
Of a good best ball pick, I got to say. He was a good one.
Davis tweeted out the counterpoint.
You know how many catches he had in the sprint? Guess.
One?
None. Zero.
Oh, no.
0, 0, 0. In the
I thought it might
playoff.
be none, but I didn't want to rob you of that punchline if it wasn't.
Yeah.
See, 0,
I love
0,
0 on 6 targets. So shout out to him.
Yeah. So we went from looked like he was a kind of a good best ball pick to just crappy, just not a great best ball pick.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to Los Angeles Chargers at Las Vegas Raiders. Chargers have an applied team total of 23. Raiders have an applied team total of 18.5. Pat, who do we like on the Chargers or the Raiders?
Lad McConkey. Pretty into him. I think you can stack him as well with Herbert. And I think Dobbins is pretty strong play here. Won't be super high owned. Bowers and Myers are both going to be strong projection plays, but they're both going to be very popular, it looks like. So, you could do the O'Connell stack and with a McConkey bring back. That seems fine, or with a Dobbins bring back. That seems fine. Overall, I would say I guess I'm pretty intrigued by this game environment. This what was the game last week? The Raiders game that Davis, I think you were the Saints, the Raiders, Saints,
Jags.
Okay.
This is a good question from
That's the thing is their motivation is 0 if the Steelers win. They can't do anything. They can't. Now, is Harbaugh a resting guy? I don't know. But I like the Chargers a lot less if they have nothing to play for.
Right.
That's a very good note.
Yeah, and do you think they would actually not play? Would Lad McConkey sit in that scenario?
I think it'd be like a Packers thing. I think it'd be a Packers thing where they get a couple series and then But playing J.K. Dobbins in a meaningless game in Week 18 would be such tempting of fate. Literally, what would be the point?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a tough one to really talk about right now because the motivations change so much based on the Steelers outcome. But you like Ladd. I think that makes sense if they do have something to play for. Would you play Justin Herbert?
Yeah. If the Steelers lose, then yeah, I would.
Okay. Davis, anything else for you on the Charger side?
Bowers, man.
All right, we're going to the Raiders. We're going to Bowers.
Bowers. Like if McBride is going to be 10% more owned than Bowers, I think you're just Bowers only needs 9 receptions to get the all-time tight end receptions record. Did you know?
I was trying to find the somebody put that in chat, and you said that he spoiled Davis doing the voice.
But yes, he will. And dude, AOC is like, I mean, he's not very good, but he does like to chuck it. Jacoby Myers only needs 69 receiving yards to get it's some crazy bonus. It's not. I think it's like $500,000 for 69 yards or whatever.
Yeah. Not says Harbaugh scoffed at sitting guys, but also had some more vague quote like about doing what's right for the team or something. That is good. Like Harbaugh is one that seems like he will play the starters at least some of the game, but probably not the whole game. I don't know. It's an interesting situation. Pat, you said you like Bowers better than McBride already, so we know you like Bowers. Do you like anybody? Do you like Jacoby Myers? Anybody else?
I mean, I would like Myers. I think he's going to be pretty popular, and so I don't know. At that point, if like a third of the field is on him, I don't think I'm into it.
Yeah, fair. Anything else from this game?
No, Bowers is fun. That's a fun, and motivation wise, I think the Raiders kind of bring their own motivation to the table. So, if the Steelers win, then I probably like the Raiders more than I do, because I think they'll try no matter what.
Yeah, I think they will too.
Yeah, what has changed in their motivations? They've been the same team all year. They were eliminated from the postseason. I believe they were the first team eliminated from the postseason because of the division they play in.
Yeah.
ANS Comedy asks, do you have a cash shell? I've had my cash shell ready for weeks, but I can't let Pete know. Pete know what my cash shell is going to be, so I'm not going to be sharing it here.
Pete says he has pieces of his shell together as of yesterday. Which
he's a little bit behind.
No one works less hard than the Cash Game King, apparently.
Come on, Pete. Get with it. Okay. Final game of the DraftKings slate is the Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. 19.5 implied team total for the Dolphins, 19 for the Jets. Davis, what do we like from the Dolphins and or the Jets here?
Literally nothing. Literally no players. Like
Easy.
Breece Hall played 47% of the snaps. Devontae Adams is banged up. Garrett Wilson is complaining about not getting targets, but like very clearly Aaron Rodgers doesn't care. Tyrod Taylor is the one who threw the touchdown to him. It's going to be, I don't know, maybe you could talk yourself into this is maybe Rodgers' last ever game. He wants to go nuclear, whatever. Has any team ever been less interested in making the playoffs than the Dolphins, who like last week were like, oh, well, but the Colts were trying. The Dolphins were like actively tanking a game they were winning. They were like, A-Chain, go. It's Jeff Wilson Jr. time. I know we're winning, but like Jeff Wilson Jr. I just don't understand. Why is Tua not playing? What's going on?
Hip, right? Hip injury.
That is such bullshit, dude. I don't know. Maybe it's not. It just came out of nowhere last week.
Huntley's not good. Like it can't be. They're not benching Tua for Huntley. That's not.
No, they just like. I just think it just seems like no one cares. It just seems like no one on the Dolphins even cares about making the playoffs.
But I mean, McDaniel's job isn't like super safe. Like he, the appearance of a collapse would be calamitous.
I think he could probably just say, "Dude, we're so banged up." You know.
I don't know,
dude, Tua got a concussion. Jalen Waddle, dude. Tyreek's old. Tyreek doesn't even want to be here.
So you're imagining him coming into Ross's office, is wearing his little capris. Yeah. He's got his hair all gelled up, and he's like, I don't know, dude. We're kind of banged up.
Dude, we're banged up.
I like you do a Davis impression
not as a head coach
for Mike McDaniel. Yeah, I don't know.
It's Pat. It's one of these things. I heard someone make this point on a basketball podcast earlier this week, and it really stuck with me. Sometimes missing the playoffs entirely, if your job is kind of in jeopardy, is actually better because you could just say, dude, we were banged up. It was an unlucky year. But sometimes you get in that playoff game and you just get so thoroughly ass kicked that there's just no excuse for it. And you're like, this is just clearly not the way forward.
And no team is more likely to have that happen than this version of the Dolphins.
I don't know who they would play, but they have to go out. They have to go play somewhere cold against maybe Buffalo or Baltimore or something. And it's just like disastrous.
I feel bad for whoever, like the people that live in the city that the Dolphins end up traveling to, because a cold front's coming in. Like it would have been beautiful that week.
I've never seen a team in a playoff game less interested in playing football than the Dolphins against the Chiefs last year. Like that was crazy. They were just like, Tyreek had the one play, and then other than that, it was just like, can we please get back to the sideline next to the heaters?
Yes.
Like that's all they wanted to do.
All right, so no interest. Pat, do you see anything you like from this game?
I would be pretty interested if it was Tyrod, but you need Rodgers has one touchdown for 500, I think. Okay. So he's getting that, but that's only one touchdown. And then I would think he might sit. He might pull himself out. He might Anthony Richardson style say, "I'm done. Pull me out." After that touchdown.
If he plans on playing again, like if he plans on retiring,
I don't even know if he'll figure it out this. He's going to spend a month in darkness, and then we'll know.
I thought he already said that he's not spending any time in darkness. I thought I saw.
Oh, he's not doing darkness.
I saw a tweet come across from one of the sources that said.
And whenever he's going to get blasted with UV light or whatever,
he's going to do something.
Whatever the new thing is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't trust it. I don't trust Rodgers to play, and I can't. You can't play Tyrod. If Tyrod was playing, then I'd be pretty interested in him with Garrett Wilson.
Oh, dude. Nodum just made an incredible point.
This one?
If you don't play NBA DFS, you won't remember this. Kobe's final game, he was only about 40% owned in tournaments when nothing had ever been more clear.
Yeah, I was like, this is obviously going to happen.
It was just the most obvious thing of all time that he was going to shoot a million times. I'm playing one Rodgers team. I'm playing one Rodgers Adams, one final, Kobe and Powell. Yeah. Yep. Okay. I'm sold.
I just don't believe in Rodgers to play it that way, to be honest. I think he just seems like so. Maybe I'm wrong. He did go nuts against the Jags.
He's a megalomaniac. The thing you have to remember on him is that he is a megalomaniac.
That is true.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So maybe one Rodgers lineup. It's also a lot harder to do it in football than basketball, where you can just your team is just yep, you can shoot it every time.
Yeah, they didn't care. I think they lost that game. If I remember, maybe they
remember how they.
I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's not important.
It would be so funny if Rodgers goes absolutely nuclear, 500 yards, just throwing touchdowns left and right, and then he loses to Snoop Huntley.
Can this be true? He's 384 from the Jets season record for passing yards.
That seems very reasonable.
That's a Jet stat. That's a Jet stat.
Who would it even be? Is it Mark Sanchez?
Joe.
Any Testaverde?
Yeah.
I bet it's Testaverde.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Jets single season passing leader. Their all-time passing leader is Joe Namath. Yeah, it's right. Joe Namath. It's Joe Namath. 4,000 yard season in 1967 and 14 games. My God, that must have been when fire got invented or something. That must imagine what that must have been like to watch.
Imagine setting that and go, this is going to stand for 60 years.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's insane.
Second place yards that season was over 700 fewer yards.
Wow.
Incredible.
Len Dawson led the NFL in completion percentage, 57.5.
Oh my God.
Insane.
Joe Namath also threw 28 interceptions in that season.
That wasn't even bad then. That's fine. That's good.
Yeah.
FanDuel, we do have one more game on the slate. It's a good game. It's the Vikings and the Lions. So it's
just
a fun
one time. Couldn't one time DraftKings just have made a Sunday night exception just once? It would have been a lot of fun.
This is the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we make a Sunday night exception and play on FanDuel this week?
Maybe. Yeah. I mean, this is
Where's the Cash Game King
week.
plan? The Cash Game King wouldn't do that.
Yeah, he's I doubt he has the balls to play me on FanDuel. I don't think he does.
He definitely doesn't. There's no chance. He can't copy Levitan's team on FanDuel.
People do say that Pete is a cash game player as a DraftKings merchant.
Yeah.
That is, I think it's a fair statement. We've got the Vikings 27 implied team total, Lions 29.5 implied team total. Two of the highest on the slate. Obviously, both teams have a lot to play for. The winner of this game gets the 1 seed and the bye out of the NFC. I know you. Do you want me to read off the salaries? Would that be easiest? Do you want to pull them up?
Sure.
So we have Justin Jefferson, and remember on FanDuel, everybody's kind of more expensive. It's a $60,000 salary cap instead of $50,000. But Justin Jefferson, $9,500. Amon-Ra St. Brown, $9,000. Jahmyr Gibbs, $8,800. Sam Darnold, $8,100. Jared Goff, $7,900. Aaron Jones, $7,300. Jordan Addison, $7,100. JMO, $6,500. Laporta, $6,000. Hawkinson, $5,900. Tim Patrick, $5,400. In terms of ownership, there's a lot of ownership projected for this game. Gibbs looking like he's going to be one of the chalkiest running backs on the slate. Jefferson, Addison, Amon-Ra, Sam Darnold Sam Laporta all getting, actually JMO, everybody getting like 20+% ownership here. Yeah. So it will be chalky, probably should be chalky. Who do we particularly like from the Vikings and the Lions?
I mean, this is crazy. The highest value guy of the slate is the most expensive is Gibbs. I mean, that's just crazy for the context of the slate. I mean, if you are playing on FanDuel and you don't have Darnold, Gibbs, Addison, Hawkinson, you're just going to lose, man.
It's coming for you at the very least. You're not necessarily going to lose, but like, don't get comfortable.
Yeah. Imagine you're first in your GPP of choice before the Sunday.
You're texting people about it. I'm fading like
this happened to
I'm fading 9 guys. I'm fading Greg Reynolds.
This happened to Adam. Ship My Money had led one of the FanDuel slates with the Sunday night game. So I think it was actually the Vikings were on the slate, but it was like the Vikings and some other team, and they were both like super chalk. And he almost got there. It was actually like if one play hadn't happened, he would have won it. But it was like, with all of the chalk, I mean, almost survived it. But it's the same kind of thing. It's like if you were leading into the Sunday night game, just don't get excited because there's a lot of teams are going to be playing a lot of players from this game. Jahmyr Gibbs looks awesome. Jefferson looks awesome. Amon-Ra looks awesome. It's kind of the game to target, I think, on FanDuel.
Yeah, I mean, come on. You got, I'd said a min 2 rule for this game, maybe 3. If I was going to play on FanDuel this week, I wouldn't do this because I'm too lazy, but I'd go and like register for the $5 GPP and just do 75 Goff double stacks, 75 Hawk or 75 Darnold double stacks, and just let it ride.
Let it ride. I don't hate that.
This total is, by my math, 11 points higher than every other game on the slate.
Wow.
No, more, I think.
So
12. So 2 extra touchdowns expected to score.
Which makes sense. I mean, both teams are good, and they're good on offense, and the Lions defense is, all sorts of banged up, and they're like, the Lions are not gonna like fold at any point. Like, they'll get more aggressive. The Lions are very fun. Someone accused me of just riding the hot team every year, which is
that was funny.
Kind of fair enough, but
I mean, the Patriots were the Patriots the hot team this year?
Yeah. No, that was my dues. I watched all the Patriots games, but yeah, of course I root for the Lions. Dan Campbell, this guy's so fun. This is gonna be a fun game.
Yeah. One-Eyed Jack Production says DK added an all-day slate just to include that game. That's kind of fun. I didn't see that. So we can play it on DraftKings some slate also. I also wanted to throw out Will Shipley, apparently only 4,100 on FanDuel, which is, I mean, it's like the equivalent of being like 2,000 on DraftKings. I mean, the min price is 4,000, so not exactly, but like it's super cheap on FanDuel.
Davis, would you go so far as to say that he's a free square on FanDuel?
Dude, Will Shipley chasing is a free square. You play Jahmyr Gibbs, you can play Justin Jefferson, you can play Sam Darnold, you can play Hawkinson, you can play the triple. You can play the triple, dude.
Load up. Free square, 4,100.
Free square, man.
That is 40. What is going on over there, man?
That's wild.
That's really low.
Yeah, it's not a good price for him. So for comparison, Michael Carter is 5,800, and he's like cheap, but like 4,100, super cheap.
Wow.
All right. So that is the final game that we needed to break down. So let's talk about favorite stacks, favorite players under 5% projected ownership. Favorite stacks. So we'll start there.
I like the Knicks, Sutton, Mims one. Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin. Another favorite of mine. Those are probably the two that I'm most interested in. What about you guys?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do Baker triples. I'm gonna do the same thing
those
I
are
did last week.
I was thinking about Baker also. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Depending on how the Steelers game goes, playing one side or maybe both, if the Steelers lose, then I think I like both sides of the Chargers game. If they win, then just the Raiders. But I think, again, depending on that game is interesting to me.
A&S Comedy asks for FanDuel, are you overstacking Lions Vikings with 4 or 5 players? Yeah, I think that's a strong way to play that one.
This game could easily be Chiefs Rams. Easily.
Wait, what was Chiefs Rams? Remind me of what happened.
Bills Rams, you mean?
No. 54-51 in Mexico City.
Okay. I was like, I feel like I vaguely have a recollection of this. Okay. How many was this 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
No, dude, this was pre-COVID. This is
okay, all right. Huh.
Jared Goff was the quarterback in that game for the.
Oh wow!
You have the Bills Rams from like 3 weeks ago. Yeah. It's more fresh in people's
Chiefs Rams lives in an eternal spot in my heart, man.
Yeah.
It's just it was kind of the. It was a beautiful moment.
Those were the glory days, man.
They went off.
Oh, it was Tyreek and Tyreek and Kelsey both just like mega giga smashed. Yeah. Demarcus Robinson was in the optimal. Demarcus Robinson was in the optimal on the Chiefs.
Love that.
On the Chiefs.
Yeah. Was it Allen?
Is that why he got signed that game? Do you think that's why?
It was Robert Woods.
Bobby Trees. Yeah.
Bobby Trees.
Right, Robert Woods.
Yeah.
Man, that's I don't remember the game, but that's super fun. Yeah, this could.
How do you not remember that game, man?
Can we get this set to "I will remember you"?
No, dude, it's just like this is a real men will do anything but go to therapy moment where it's like men will talk about a regular season Chiefs Rams game from 2019.
2019.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm just thinking Bengals Ravens from like 10 weeks ago. I don't know when that was. Earlier this year. That was big.
There were a couple of those.
These games are all like 40 points less than that game for real.
Yeah. All right. That's fair. That's not quite the same level. Okay. Yeah. This game could. I mean, the Vikings defense is good though. That's the one like fly in the ointment for that to happen in this game.
What about Bills Chiefs Super Bowl? I mean, not Super Bowl. Bills Chiefs AFC Championship game to decide who went to the Super Bowl.
Was that Gabe Davis 3 touchdown game?
That was the Gabe Davis 3 touchdown game. Yeah. Was that the divisional? It wasn't the
divisional.
It was the divisional because then, yeah.
13 seconds.
13 seconds, yeah.
That was a wild one for playoff best ball because it was like you needed Gabe Davis to advance and then he was dead. Like they lost the game.
And then it was over, yeah.
So you need that one-off piece.
When it's grim, be the Grim Reaper.
That's right. When it's grim, be the Grim Reaper. I don't really know what that means, but
I don't really.
Oh my god, dude!
No, I do.
You guys don't know any of the lore. Andy Reid said that to Mahomes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
When Gabe Davis scored the last time, well, I mean that's what they say. It probably never happened, but Pat said that's what Andy said to him on the sideline.
All right,
pretty good.
It's a good quote.
It's pretty good. It's also pretty good. Even if he made it up, it's a pretty good thing to make up.
Yeah,
like, it's an incredible thing to make up. Yeah, also, I can see Andy saying that.
Definitely.
It seems like
yeah.
I always wonder what this is. Totally neither here nor there, but I do wonder what their interpersonal relationship is like. These guys who have just like been through like all this crazy shit together, all these crazy high leverage moments. who probably have nothing in common outside of football.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally couldn't imagine different personalities.
They've won enough that I don't think it matters. I think that they get along really well because it's like winning, just like you get along when you win as much as the Chiefs
but
do.
like clearly Brady and Belichick never really liked each other.
True.
We're never really friends.
Belichick is a tough personality. Like I feel like anybody could get along with Andy Reid. Like
I don't think Andy Reid is saying like you had a pretty decent season, Pat, after they win the Super Bowl. Like he seems capable of like, more
genuine human emotion.
Yeah.
Do you think the State Farm commercials are helping or hurting the relationship?
Probably helping. They spend all day on set.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Joking around.
Andy seems like he's having fun. He says the way he says fumble Ruski really kind of throws me, but he seems like he's having a good time.
He does seem like he's having a good time.
Bundle Ruski, yeah.
Makes me like him. Makes me like him better, I think, those commercials. I kind of enjoyed those commercials.
They overplayed it for me. I
really like the Devontae Adams Taco Bell in his house commercials. I really enjoyed those ones.
I agree.
Once he got traded, I know he doesn't live there. It's just
imagine having a Taco Bell in your house, man.
That'd be just so amazing. Yeah.
I can't suspend my disbelief anymore since he got traded.
Yeah, fair. Under 5% plays that we like. Garendo's under 5%.
Yeah.
I'll
go Garendo, Carson Steele, Justin Ross, Peyton Hendershot, and Tyler Johnson. Those are the pick of the litter for me right now.
Jalen McMillan I'd throw on there.
Jonathan Taylor.
I just don't believe that Jonathan Taylor will be. I just don't believe McMillan will be. Basically, I think there's got to be no way.
Yeah,
Jonathan Taylor's really good. He's on a really good run. He's playing the Jaguars. His coach needs to have his team look competent, and the quarterback's Joe Flacco. I think they're going to feed him. Yeah. So him being after the run he's had, him back to sub 5% seems like an opportunity to me. DK Metcalf would be the other guy that I think is really interesting. Sub 5.
Justin Ross could be like, and if Nico Remigio is chalk and Justin Ross is like anywhere near 5%, I think he's a pretty strong play here. All right. Well, that does it, I think, for our plays. Does it for the pod for the season. So what else do we have coming up? I mean, I know a lot of playoff best ball is on the table for all of us. We're all going to be jamming playoff best ball. I assume a lot of content also. Tell me about what kind of content you guys have coming up and where people can find it.
I mean, dude, we're 3 weeks away from the big board, so
can't wait.
I know. I've been playing catch up on the rookie stuff because I need to play catch up on drafting playoff best ball teams, but I've also been trying to get my rookie stuff in order because the big board's around the corner.
Yeah, I think Neil, I might try and stream all 150 big boards.
Are you really? I'm not. I don't care because you're not older than me, so I'm not threatened by that. My whole thing is I'm the only person to ever do it.
I'd be the only streamer to have ever streamed all 150 big boards.
Oh, big boards. I was thinking Best Ball Mania immediately.
Yeah, Best Ball Mania. I probably will just out of pure happenstance.
150 big boards would be way more impressive because it's so much more condensed, right? Like it's like 2 months, 3 months as opposed to 6 months.
But there's nothing else to do though,
Yeah, fair.
What are we gonna do? Go outside? 16 inches of snow here.
Man,
coming soon.
That'd be impressive. If you can do it, I'll be impressed. I'll watch.
Okay, there we go. So, Neil is committed to watching 150 hours of me drafting big board teams. So
I don't know if I'll watch 150. They'll definitely be on 2 hours.
They're 20 rounds too. They're 20 rounds.
Yeah,
too.
Right. That's way bigger commitment than BBM. All right, so Davis is going to be streaming 150 big boards potentially.
Theoretically,
playoff best ball in the meantime. I know you're going to be
playoff best ball. Yeah, I'm Davis. I want to jump on with you at some point next week and do some more playoff best ball stuff.
Okay, you tell me.
And then, nice. And we'll be doing stuff over on Legendary Upside as well. And then we're going to be we got the Sidekick going. If you're looking for playoff best ball stuff, check out legendaryupside.com. Even outside the Sidekick, we have Sacrilegious's article on that, which is just absolutely must read. And plenty of stream content on playoff best ball as I try desperately to recover from a 10-day trip where I didn't draft at all and max these.
Oh no, yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it will be.
I will say I've been using the sidekick, makes it much more feasible to do like 8 drafts at a time. Like I would never even attempt that without the
multi-tabling is much easier.
Oh, dude. My brain, I'm the Kwisatz Haderach of drafting, multi-drafting. I can do 5 at a time with no misclicks.
I have no idea what you just said. The Kwisatz Haderach? You're
not a Dune guy?
No, I've never seen Dune.
I'm the Lisan Al Gaib of multi-tabling playoff drafts.
Is that also Dune?
Yes,
that's also Dune. I got that because that's in the movies. I've never read the book, but
that's from the book. Yeah, I was basically put on Earth to do that.
Uh-huh.
All right.
The Sacrilegious loved that
if you're also as much of a virgin as me, that was like as funny as something Pete would say to you if you're a nerd.
I got that. That was funny.
I was just, that laugh was me thinking of a funny thing Pete said.
Wow, Pete is so funny.
Yeah, maybe I'll read Dune at some point. I'll probably just watch the shows and the movie.
No, dude, read the book, man. Read the book. It's the first Dune is like, Neil, you're kind of a nerd. It'll be like a religious experience, man. It's unbelievably good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe I'll check it out. I've read a lot.
You made Sack said you made his week with that joke, so it truly was.
The thing about Dune is if you read any further past the first book, they become the most bizarre books of all time. So you just become like, you get so woke to references to it in the culture because you're like, I can't believe you read that book.
Interesting. Sack said that he liked the movie better than the first book.
The movies are great. The movies are they're so good, but I mean the book is almost always better. Just more of it.
Yeah, it is more of it. All right. So find Pat Legendary Upside on YouTube and legendaryupside.com. Just a lot of great stuff there. Davis is at Davis Mattek. Is that the YouTube is just at Davis Mattek, or just search the name, you'll find them.
Yeah, I'm gonna start cranking out some prospect profiles over on the Patreon. I think it's about honestly just for my own edification because I need to got 3 weeks to learn all the rookies for the big board. So go.
I'm going to be relying on you guys for that kind of stuff. I think probably not doing that myself.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk prospects as I get my head around that stuff too. Once we do some deep dives, that'll be fun. It's an interesting class, man. That the running backs are so deep. I feel like there's going to be lots of good conversation. We haven't had a really deep running back class in a while, not a truly deep class. Lots of like as Davis was saying before, there's a ton of guys who would be second or third round rookie picks. It's a lot. Yeah, you might get a third round running back going in the 4th round of your rookie draft, possibly. Yeah.
Fun. I mentioned at the beginning of the show, but there is still a lot of content coming out at 4-4. They're going to continue doing all of their projections for the rest of the playoffs. Savoke is going to be doing the showdown breakdowns. They do have some best ball, playoff best ball stuff coming out as well. So a lot of stuff you can still check out at 4-4, even though a lot of the content is done for the year. Still stuff going on there. I'll probably be doing some playoff best ball content. Haven't done any yet, so I got to do at least some next week, and I'll of course use the sidekick if I do that live as well. And of course, I'll be doing showdown stuff for the rest of the year as well. You can find me Flaniverse YouTube channel. All right, that is going to do it for this show. Thank you, Davis and Pat. Was a great season working with you guys. Thank you to everybody else for hanging with us all year. We'll catch you elsewhere. All right, later, guys.